Today we've been taking a look at the Lathril, Blade of the Elves. This is an elf build deck that I actually kind of enjoy. We will be taking a closer look at this deck, and if I have time, we will be go fishing, show you how this deck operates. So for those who don't know, Lathril Blade of Elves is a 2 generic and 1 black, 1 green, a 2/3 with Menace, Legendary Elf Noble. Whenever Lathril deals combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1 green elves warrior tokens. Tap 10. Tap, then tap 10 untapped elves you control. Each opponent loses 10 life, you gain 10 life. So, this is a elf ball deck that really wants to make sure Lathril is big and can come in and make more elves. So she then can tap 10 of them and just drain. So that's the commander. We're gonna move on from the commander onto the singular protection spell I have here, which is Lightning Greaves. It gives Lathril. It reads as follow: 2 generic equipped creature has haste and shroud. It can't be the target of spells or abilities. Equip 0. This is basically making sure that the Lathril enters and can attack right away. And no one can really interact with her. No. Not even you as the controller, since Shroud denies you the access as well. So just passive buffs is what we're looking for. Secondly, I believe we have the card draw. Or do we? No, we have mana reduction. We have Herald's Horn. That says for 3 generic, as Herald's Horn enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creature spells you cast of the chosen type cost 1 less to cast. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature card of the chosen type, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. This is a type of card advantage, letting you just look at the top card. Then, if it's elf, like it should be, you just you get to put it into your hand. And if it's not, well, then you knew what you drew. So yeah, moving on to our second, Seal of the Guild Pact, 5 generic artifacts. As Seal of the Guild Pact that enters the battlefield, choose 2 colors. Each spell you cast costs 1 less to cast for each of the chosen colors in it. So since this is a 2-colored deck, you will probably choose, not probably, you will choose green and black, and each spell you cast that has green or black in it costs 1 less to cast, or if it has both, it costs 2 less to cast. So that's what that do. Probably not something you would have issues with, so it's mostly there because, well, commander tax is a thing. Then we have our doubling effects. The doubling effects, that is, let's zoom in here, so, which is Primal Beer, a 5 mana enchantment. If 1 or more tokens would be put onto the battlefield, twice that many of those tokens are put onto the battlefield instead. If a 1 or more +1/+1 counters would be placed on a creature, twice that many +1/+1 counters are placed on that instead. So this is just a token doubler, more or less, where you just maybe go when Lathril makes contact, she just do 2 damage, which lets you get 2 of these guys. And if you have this one out, it would become 4 of them. So we primarily use this for token doubling. However, important note, this is an effect that's affecting the whole table. So you might be someone's friend if you have this one out. Our second doubling effect is the effect of doubling power and toughness. At the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control until the end of turn. So basically, you have this one out. It's also a 5 cost, however it's more difficult to cast since it has 4 green pips. This doubles Lathril's power and toughness. So in combat, she becomes a 4/6 and if she has any counters on her, she becomes like, oh, she has one counter on her, she becomes she's a 3/4, she's a 6/8, and just becomes bigger in that way, which means more elves, more elves, which also becomes bigger. They are 1/1s, they become 2/2s. So a natural growth. We want more elves. Next up, we have just our generic, well, the elves that doesn't do, just elves in general. Which one do we start with? Well, I guess we're going with this. So I have difficulty reading this name. The Archer, I'm gonna call him Thorn Archer, is here. Is a 2-mana 2/1 with reach and death touch. Good jump blocker, and well, basically, this is painful for them. Next up, Abomination of Llanowar. It's a 1 generic and 1 black, 1 green. Elf Horror, Vigilance, Menace. Abomination of Llanowar's power and toughness are each equal to the number of elves you control, plus the number of elf cards in your graveyard. This becomes very big fast. So, yeah, you count all the elves you have on the battlefield and in the graveyard, you ain't gonna have too much problems. It has Menace, which helps a lot, which requires 2 creatures to block at minimum. Vigilance, you don't tap this guy, so he's a blocker as well. Woodland Champion reads as follows: 1 generic, 1 green, Elf Scout. Whenever one or more tokens enters the battlefield under your control, put that many +1/+1 counters on a Woodland Champion. It's a 2/2. So, you play this, 2 turns later you play Lathril. You can then, turn after that, you attack with Lathril. You get 2 elves that are tokens, which puts 2 counters on the woodland. Now I believe we are at tokens. Yes, we are. We're gonna start off with this one. It reads as follows: a 2-mana 2/2 with when this creature enters the battlefield, if you control another elf, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. It comes in with the body pretty much all the time. We have Elven Ambush, 4-mana instant, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token for each elf you control. So this one just instant board state, more or less. If you have the doubling season out with this, you created twice as many elves, which is huge problems for your opponents, because now you have vision blockers or sacrifices. Hooded Hydra, now this ain't an elf, but it is a X 2 green Snake Hydra. Hooded Hydra enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. When Hooded Hydra dies, create a 1/1 green snake creature token for each +1/+1 counter on it. So you when this guy dies, you create snakes, Spaghetti-O, whatever you want to call them. It also has Morph for 5, 2 green and 3 generic, and that's its Morph cost. So you can enter like surprise thing. This is a mana sink primarily. The bonus is when it dies, you get a shit ton of snakes, which, depending on what you get, you might be able to win on the spot, or the game might drag on a lot longer. Next, I believe we have the drain effects. Yes, we do. Skemfar Shadowsage, a 4-mana, 3 generic, 1 black, elf cleric. When it enters, you choose one of it is. Each opponent loses life, where loses X life, where X is the greatest number of creatures you control that have a creature type in common. So with this one, if you have killed your Hooded Hydra recently, you might have a shit ton of snakes, which might let you win the game. Or you might be pulling your ass out of a drainage pipe where hope is futile, but then all of a sudden you gain X life, where X is the greatest number of creatures that shares a creature type with it. So you might be playing Houdini, or because the game ended so fucking fast, or you might be your opponent might ask you, why won't you just die? Because you just gained a shit ton of life. Next up, Nadir's Nightblade. It's a 3-mana, 2 generic, 1 black elf warrior with whenever a token you control lives in battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. It's a 1/3. So this is basically a Blood Artist. However, if Blood Artist was a elf. So this is another drain effect. So you want your tokens to just live. It doesn't matter if they die, if they just get Chaos Warped, or this within. It do not really matter. If Nadir's Nightblade is out and sees it, it will probably be draining your opponents. It also helps with ending the game faster. Next up, Zulaport Cutthroat. It's a 2 mana, 1 generic, 1 black, 1/1. With whenever Zulaport Cutthroat or another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain a life. This, alongside with Nadir's Nightblade, you might be draining your opponents for 2 each time a token might die, because you might have chunk blocked with it, or you drain them just straight up for 2, going neutral on Erebos the Bleak-Hearted. Moving on from the drains to, I believe it's buff, maybe. Yes, it's the buff. The buff is like anthems or counters or something like that. Like Vanquisher's banner. For 5 mana, you get an artifact that has, as a Vanquisher's banner enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type gets +1/+1. Whenever you cast a creature spell of the chosen type, draw a card. So each time you cast Lathril, you draw a card. aka it's becoming more of a cantrip. However, as it costs 5 mana, it seems to be kind of expensive. However, as you will see soon, this is baby steps. You will probably be having lunch at that point. Thank you, Vanquishers. Next up, we have Imperious Perfect. 3 mana, 2 generic, 1 green. Other elves you control gets +1/+1. And for 1 green, tap, you create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. It can generate a dude, which you can jump block with. This can be instant speed, so you are most likely safe. And you might have a shit ton of elves or not, or your opponents might get drained a lot. It depends. Moving on to Elvish Archdruid for 3 mana, 2 green, 1 generic. Other elf creatures you control get +1/+1, and add it taps for green for each elf you control. It's a 2/2. It can go infinite if you have Staff Domination, which I do not run in this deck because, well, it's ridiculous. Even though that's also a type of mana sink. So, as I said, 5 mana seems like it's nothing. It's nothing wrong with having more pump spells or extra spells that do stuff, because as you might get to see, this deck can generate a lot of mana. So, moving on from Elvish Archdruid to Canopy Tactician, a 4 mana elf, 4 mana 3/3. Other elves you control get +1/+1. Tap, add 3 green. Primarily an anthem or a lord or whatever it's called. However, it's good with it's a bonus for the mana ability. Now moving on. Tyvar the Bellicose. 4 mana, 2 generic, 1 black, 1 green. Legendary elf warrior. Whenever one or more elves you control attacks, They gain Death Touch until end of turn. Each creature you control has, whenever a mana ability of this creature resolves, put a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the amount of mana this creature produced. This ability triggers only once each turn. This will give, like, Canopy Tactician 3 counters, for example, and Elvish Archdruid might get like 20 counters or so. Like, the ones that taps for more mana gets more counters, and so on and so forth. So that's a buff spell. Also, if you get the Osolith in this deck as well, you can, if you get the Osolith and also a Sack Outlet, you can also get a lot of elves each turn. So, moving on. Primal Might. It's another X spell, where it has X and a green. It's a sorcery. Target creature you control gets +X/+X until end of turn. Then it fights up to one target creature you don't control. So this is both a buff spell and a removal, because you can before you attack with before you cast this, you can take off the Lightning Greaves from Lathril, and then you can target Lathril with the Primal Might. Lathril will start throwing hands, and then you can put the boots back on, and Lathril will create a lot more elves when she deals combat damage. Now, that's primarily what this is for. Moving on to Hydra's Growth. It's a 3 mana, 2 generic, 1 green enchantment aura. Enchant a creature. When a Hydra's Growth enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on a enchanted creature. At the beginning of your upkeep, double the number of counters. Double the number of +1/+1 counters on an enchanted creature. You cast this, target Lathril. Lathril gets a counter, and at the beginning of each of your upkeeps, the counter doubles. So it started off as 1, it becomes 2, then it becomes 4, and moving on. Next up, recursion. Now, what do I mean with recursion? Well, to be honest, the recursion in this is, I don't know, I might have to redo it. We have, to begin with, another chance. A 3 mana, 2 generic, 1 black instant. You may mill the 2 cards, then return up to 2 creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. So if you mill a creature you wanted, you just put it back into your hand, and then yeah, and then you can leave the second card in there, or if it was a creature in there. Anyways, you can recur something from your graveyard. Elvish Regrower, a 4 mana, 2 generic, 2 green, 4/3. When this creature enters, return a target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. If Hydra's Growth went to the graveyard, or if anything else, like let's say a land or something along those lines, went to the graveyard, you can get it back. It's not the whole world. And it's an itty-bitty trigger, so a lot easier. You get a guy as well. Moving on to Elderfang Ritualist. 3 mana, 2 generic, 1 black. Creature in Elf Generic. When Elderfang Ritualist dies, return another target elf card from your graveyard to your hand. This just takes back elves. So if you go Masked Nexus, if you have Masked Nexus in this deck, which I don't, because that's in my Aslask, the Swelling Scourge, you should go check that video out. You can return any creature from your graveyard to your hand then. So stuff ain't dead forever. Roots of Wisdom, 2 mana, 1 generic, 1 green, sorcery. Mill 3 cards, then return a land card or elf card from your graveyard to your hand. If you can't, draw a card. So most likely you will have either a land or an elf in your graveyard. But if you fail, well, you just draw a card. Have fun. Yeah, Forever Young, 2 mana, sorcery, for 1 generic, 1 black. Put any number of targeted creature cards on from your graveyard on top of your library, draw a card. So this makes it so you can stack which card you want to draw, when you want to draw it. So, yeah, gives you more choices. Next up, Haunting Voyage, for 6 mana, 4 generic, 2 black, sorcery. Choose a good creature type. Return up to 2 creature cards of that type from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then it has Foretell, which you can do for 2 mana, and then pay a grand total of 7 mana. Then it has more. If this spell was foretold, return all the new creature cards. Return all the creature cards of that type from your graveyard to the battlefield instead. So this you can. It's like a trap card from Yu-Gi-Oh. Only the thing is, it returns shit to the battlefield. It's a very good tribal. It's a good tribal graveyard recursion because you can proceed to foretell it, wait a couple of turns, and then wham, all your shit back. You can survive board wipes quite easily with that. Next up, Buried Alive. Search your library for up to 3 creature cards, put them into your graveyard, then shuffle. It costs 3 mana, however, 2 generic and 1 black. This will work pretty good with any of the recursion you have, because, well, you look for the cards you want and put them into your graveyard. What can they do in the graveyard? Absolutely yak shit. Anyways, moving on. Return Upon the Tide. 5 mana, 4 generic, 1 black, with Foretell as well, which is a total of 4 mana, 3 generic, 1 black. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. If it's an elf, create 2 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens. So you can return whatever you want with this. However, you get bonuses if it's an elf. You get 2 more dudes. And now we move on to the removal. Straight, I believe it's called. This one. Correct me in the comments. For 3 mana, 2 generic, 1 black, instant, destroy target creature without flying. So if your opponents don't have anything that flies, that shit gets deleted temporarily. It's not Omega dead like other things can do. Moving on to Putrefy. For 3 mana, 1 generic, 1 black, 1 green, destroy target artifact or creature. It can't be regenerated. So if your opponent has something like, I don't know, Unwinding Clock, it's a story behind that, the irritation, but it's fun games. But destroying key artifacts in artifact decks, that's a good idea, no matter what they are. And they cannot be regenerated. You can also destroy key creatures as well. Moving on from that, we have Abrupt Decay for 1 black, 1 green, instant. This spell can't be countered. Destroy target non-land permanent with a mana value 3 or less. About what the Putrefy does, however, it targets anything with mana value 3 or less. I don't know what Unwinding Clock is. I might put it up on the screen, and I don't think you can target this one. Target Unwinding Clock with this one. I believe it's one too much. Anyway, moving on. Join the Dead for 3 mana, 1 generic, 2 black. Target creature gets -5/-5 until end of turn. It has Descend 4 as well. That creature gets -10/-10 until end of turn instead if there are 4 or more permanent cards in your graveyard. So with the amount of recursion or something like that, you should fire this one off relatively early when you have a Descend 4. And if your opponent have cast something like, I don't know, Ulamog, Ceaseless Hunger, or any 10/10 things that might die instantly of this, because they might be hard to be removed. So, big threat, be gone, you say. Then we have Masked Vandal, 2 mana, 1/3. It's a changeling, so it's an elf in addition to every other creature type you can think of. It's a hedgehog as well, thanks to the new Sonic the Hedgehog Secret Lair. For 1 generic, 1 green, you can have a Masked Vandal. When Masked Vandal enters the battlefield, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, exile target artifact or enchantment and opponent controls. This can permanently deal with the problematic enchantments or artifacts like Awaiting Clock. So they just turn to dust more or less. Good. It's at the behest of one of your own creatures. However, theoretically, you can put Lathril in the the graveyard when she dies. And when you cast Masked Vandal, you can choose to exile Lathril. And when she changed the zone from graveyard to exile, you put her into your command zone. Which means you never lost a creature, you just got something more expensive like her. Moving on from Masked Vandal onto Thornmantle Striker, a 5 mana for 3. That is for 4 generic 1 black. You get when a Thornmantle Striker enters the battlefield, choose 1. Remove X counters from target permanent, where X is the number of elves you control, or target a creature an opponent controls gets minus X until end of turn, where X is the number of elves you control. So this might be able to pick off the big thing you weren't able to pick off with Join the Dead. So this might delete that one temporarily if your opponents decide that no, we are graveyard recursion. Anyways, moving on from that, we have a Reclamation Sage. A lot of this is this target artifact or enchantment. I don't run artifact or enchantment destruction in my Tyranid deck, which I probably should, but Rec Sage, quite famous with what it does. This is from the Foundation. I don't remember exactly what it's called. This is from the Foundation bundle thingamabob. Moving on. Elderfang Disciple, for 2 mana, 1 black, 1 generic. You get an Elf Cleric with that it's a 1/1. When Elderfang Disciple enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card, which makes their hand size a card smaller. I put it into the removal because they lose cards from the hand. Then we have Incriminate, for 1 generic 1 black, Sorcery Spade. Choose 2 target creatures controlled by the same player. That player sacrifices 1 of them, so you give them a choice. Which creature do they want to live? This works often very well by choosing the 2 creatures that might be key pieces. So you remove 2 of the best things. Moving on to card advantage, I believe. Moving on to card advantage, we start off by looking at Path of Discovery, a recent addition. I have not yet played with this in a pod. It's an enchantment for 4. Whenever a creature you control enters, it explores, which you reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land, it goes into your hand, or otherwise, put a +1/+1 counter on the creature, and then you may choose to either put it back or you put it into your graveyard. In theory, this should work well with Lathril, letting her grow bigger and making more tokens, which explores either making them bigger or or giving you a land. Next up, Idol of Oblivion. It's a card draw in this deck, since this is a token generating deck. You can draw a card only if you created a token. Then you also have the option of sacking this to create a 10/10 Eldrazi. This deck has a lot of the ramp, so having something that costs a lot to activate might help. Next up, Eye of Vecna. For 2 mana, legendary artifact. When Eye of Vecna enters the battlefield, you draw a card and lose 2 life. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card and you lose 2 life. So this is drawing you an extra card each turn, and quite decent. Bolas' Citadel, the only game changer in this deck. For 6 mana, 3 generic, 3 black. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play the top card of your library. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its converted mana cost, rather than pay its mana cost. Then you can tap sacrifice 10 non-land permanent. Each opponent loses 10 life. Also, it's a ping effect that works well with Lathril, because you tap 10 untapped elves to drain for 10, and then you can tap this to sack all those 10 elves you just tapped to Bolas' Citadel someone. Next, Brightwood Tracker, a 4 mana, 3 generic, 1 green, 2/4. That has for 6 mana, 5 generic, 1 green, tap. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This is just because that costs a lot. You're gonna produce a lot of mana once again. Here we have Erebos, Bleak-Hearted. For 4 mana, 3 generic, 1 black, you get a 4/6 god. That's indestructible. Did I say 4/6? I meant 5/6. As long as your devotion to black is less than 5, Erebos isn't a creature. Whenever another creature you control dies, you may pay 2 life. If you do, draw a card. Then, for 1 generic, 1 black, sacrifice another creature. Target creature gets -2/-1 until end of turn. This will help you with card draw, since it has a sacrifice ability on itself and a draw card ability on itself as well. Plus, it's indestructible. And if I'm correct, your devotion will rarely be higher than 5. We have 3 there, 1 here, so that's 5, and then 1 here. So yeah, no, we're doing it. It's fine. Arnold, King of Skemfar. For 3 mana, 1 generic, 1 black, 1 green. Legendary creature elf with menace, 8 and 3 power, 2 toughness. When a Herald, the King of Skemfar, enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal an elf, warrior, or Tyvar card from among them, and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So you can look at the top cards, top 5, and you get a card draw. However, it's only elf, warrior, or Tyvar. So many of the elves, many of the cards you will get, unless you hit in instant sorceries and stuff like that. Moving to the Beast Whisperer. For 4 mana, you get a 2/3, 2 generic, 2 green. When you cast a creature spell, draw a card. Whenever you cast a creature, you draw a card. That's just that simple. Works well in creature-based decks, and lets you keep a hand. This makes each creature like a cantrip, which they replace themselves. Rishkar's Expertise. For 6 mana, 4 generic, 2 green. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. You may cast a spell with a mana value 5 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. This will let you draw at least 5 cards, since, well, Erebos. If your devotion is 5 or higher. What else? You can also free cast something. A lot of the cards in this deck do not reach 5 or greater, higher than 5. So, yeah. Primarily card draw. Congrats. Ancient Stirrings for 1 green. Sorcery. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a colorless card from among them. Put it into your hand. Then put the rest in. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. This lets you just find like a land, an artifact. Those are the only things this can go get in the deck. So yeah, primarily if you go Ancient Stirring and find the Lightning Greaves, and you have Lathril out, I would cast the Lightning Greaves. Then we have Guardian Project for 4 mana, 3 generic, 1 green. You have about the same effect that Beast Whisperer. Whenever a non-token creature enters, you draw a card. However, it cannot share the same name with another creature you control on the battlefield or in the graveyard. So, yeah. However, this is Commander, so we don't need to worry that much. Moving on to ramp. Now we're gonna say it's a chunk. We start off with Harrow. 3 mana instant. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a land. Search your library for up to 2 basic lands. Put them out into the battlefield. 3 visits. Search your library for a forest. Card. Put it onto the battlefield and shuffle. Rampant Growth. Search your library for a basic land card. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Farseek. You can go find a swamp. That's what you're gonna find with this. Explore. You may play an additional land and card draw. Cultivate. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal those cards. Put one onto the battlefield tapped, and the other into your hand. Then shuffle. Tyvar Signet. Yes. 1 mana for 2 mana. Arcane Signet. Frame Mind Vessel. I just rapid fire the ones that are most commonly known. Enter tapped. Taps for 2 mana of different colors. Since this is the color deck, you just go with black and green. Soul Ring. 1 mana tap for 2. Talisman of Resilience. It's a either you take damage or you have a colorless. Burnished Hart. Whenever you sacrifice this, you look for 2 basics and put them onto the battlefield tapped, and you shuffle. Springbloom Druid. It's a 3 mana, 2 generic, 1 green. When this creature enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a land. If you do, search your library for 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield tapped, and you shuffle. So this is Hero on a creature. You sacrifice 1 land to get 2 lands. Llanowar Elves. 1 mana 1/1 move with taps for 1. Priest of Titania. 2 mana 1 generic 1 green for a 1/1 that taps and adds green for each elf on the battlefield. So this counts your opponent's elves as well, if they have some. Paradise Druid. As long as Paradise Druid is untapped, she has hexproof. Then she can tap 1 for 1 mana of any color. She costs 2 though, and it's a 2/1. Yeah, we go rapid fire. I know. Beastcaller Savant. 2 mana, 1 generic 1 green for 1/1 with haste. You can he taps for mana of any color to just cast creature spells with. Tyvar Kell, the Planeswalker Tyvar. For 4 mana, 2 generic 2 green, you get an Planeswalker that has elf you control taps for black. Then you can put counters on your other elves, and you create elves, and then you get the ultimate. You get an emblem with whenever you cast an elf spell, it gains haste until end of turn, and you draw 2 cards. So passive, 3 actives. You can stack the emblems if you manage to get double the loyalty counters. Okay, moving on to our lands. Starting off with, I believe it's non-basics. Yeah. Because we run the same amount of forest and swamps. So we start off with Hooded Hydra. It's a fetch land. So search your library for a island or swamp, or you just search for swamps. Slow fetches, Rocky Tar Pit, but it's the same as Hooded Delta, however, with mountain. Grassland, also a slow fetch. Such as for forest. Command Tower. Or identity. Temple of Mid. Skyland. So you can go forward. The Elfland. Movable. For 1 mana you get an elf. Sure, it says it's all the things that. So it's a hedgehog as well. Skemfar Elderhall. You create no, we're gonna say here. For shit on mana, you sacrifice this land up to 1 targeted creature you don't control gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Create 2 blue, 1 green elves, warrior, creature token, activate this ability only anytime you could cast a switch. You get guys. The 2 courtyard in main elves, and then this taps for any of the 2 colors in this to cast elves. Same with Unclaimed Territory. Priming more meaning green as the other in this. Then the amount of it's 11 reach. So you won't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But in the shadows, I search for light. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We run the end of the witch. So that's all of our elf haul. Like and subscribe. Follow me on my socials. I might have to do some tricks. And comment if you noticed something in the video. I'm trying to keep a secret, so-called, as opposed to having something for you to look after.